Welcome back to the program. There are a ton of loathsome Democrats in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, and we know all the names: AOC, Crockett, so many others. But one of them that is truly detestable, a walking abortion, if you will, is Eric Swalwell, or as I like to call him, Eric Swallowswell, or perhaps maybe he's more known, based on his time on MSNBC, as Eric Fartswell, okay? Well, he should be disqualified as a member of Congress. Listen to this. Congressman Eric Swallowswell, and that's what I'm going to call him, names Washington, D.C. home as his principal residence and has no California address. What is with these Democrats lying about where they live? I mean, Letitia James, I don't have a pencil, but the other guy's name, so many of these people have lied about where they live. He's yet another one. California Representative Eric Swallowswell has faced a barrage of controversy in recent years from his alleged ties to the Chinese spy Fang Fang Bang Bang to his removal from the House Unintelligence Committee at the time over national security concerns, and of course his famous farting mishap on Hardball with Chris Matthews. But now a new revelation has raised even more serious questions about Fartswell's integrity and eligibility to even serve in Congress. Despite serving as a, quote, congressman from California, the 15th District representative claims that his hometown is Livermore, California. It's even on his official House profile. However, Fartswell has declared that Washington, D.C. is actually the property where he lives and is his principal residence. A public deed of trust for Swallowswell's D.C. home at 209 South Street Northeast, dated on April 18th, 2022, confirms that the property is designated as his, quote, principal residence. Now, we don't know if he got a mortgage and lied about that. I'm sure Bill Pulte and some others will be looking into that here pretty soon, as a condition of a loan. We don't know that yet, but I would assume he probably did. They're all liars. They all do the same thing. The deed includes explicit language making the borrower liable for false or misleading statements regarding their occupancy. Borrowers shall be in default if a borrower gave materially false, misleading, or inaccurate information or statements to a lending institution. Material representation shall include borrower's occupancy of the property as borrower's principal residence. Then there's the deed of trust with the proof. Under Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, members of Congress must be inhabitants of the state that they represent at the time of their election. In California, maintaining this inhabitancy means holding tangible, verifiable ties to the state and the community, such as owning and or at least renting a physical residence in the state in which they are supposed to reside in, registering to vote in that state as well, paying state income taxes, and possessing a California driver's license. As a matter of fact, take it a step further, California Elections Code 43349 goes even further. A domicile is defined as, quote, the place in which his or her habitation is affixed, fixed in place. The place where a person intends to return and remain. If Swallowswell's true domicile is in Washington, D.C., the city where he has, quote, declared his principal residency at, he may no longer even meet the basic requirements of California law and the U.S. Constitution to remain a member of the Congress. Public record searches have now revealed that any homeownership or lease under Eric Swalwell's name does not show in California. The address most often associated with his background is in Washington, D.C. Now, It gets even crazier. Failure to maintain a legitimate residence in the state of California could expose Swallowswell or Fartswell to legal, ethical, and electoral repercussions. A false declaration of residency risks tax violations, misrepresentations to lenders, and challenges to his eligibility for being a member of Congress. Unreal. Politically, the revelation of a Washington, D.C. principal residence undermines Swallowswell's credibility and fuels accusations, of course, of hypocrisy, especially since Swallowswell rose to power by attacking his predecessor, Pete Stark, for being, quote, out of touch with the district because he said that he didn't live, at least he lived in the state of California, but he didn't live in the district. So imagine that. He's going around, telling the opponent, oh, you don't, really represent California because you don't live in your district. Meanwhile, this guy doesn't even live in California. Okay? I mean, the hypocrisy is nauseating. During the 2012 campaign, Fartswell's mailers mocked Stark as, quote, missing from his constituents. Now, of course, Fartswell himself may be the one who's gone completely missing from the state that he's, quote, supposed to reside in. Pretty insane stuff. And the thing is, it's like these Democrats do this all the time. Do they not think that there's public records out there? Do they not think that we can look into these things and find them out? My next thing is, I hope, really do hope, that Bill Pulte and FHA or whatever and the mortgage industry and all that, I hope they look into it. Because not only does he not say that he lives in California, but he's got D.C. as his primary residence. And if he took out a mortgage on his property in D.C., then he's no different and no better than Letitia James or Lisa, whatever her name is. I can't think of her name right now. Lisa whatever from the Federal Reserve. And it's not just her. I mean, there's so many others. Of course, you have Shifty Schiff. He's got issues saying that he lives, in California when he's really in Maryland. And then from Maryland to California. I mean, they're all a bunch of liars. Okay? Every single one of them. And I hope that he's the next one. And he might be. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But the bottom line is, Fartswell is one of the worst offenders out there. I mean, he's just a horrible human being in every sense of the word. He lies all the time. He thinks he's a tough guy. He's selling merchandise during the shutdown. I mean, if anyone needs to be socked with a sombrero, it's that moron. That's for sure. I don't know. We're just going to have to see. Him, Adam Kinzinger, another loser. I'll never forget, just an aside, when I was the national spokesperson for AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, the conservative alternative to AARP, they sent me out to Adam Kinzinger's district, okay? Believe it or not. I don't remember where it was. I think it was in Champaign, Illinois. I don't remember. I have to look it up. Anyway, so I went out there, and I was representing AMAC, and it was a town hall. So in other words, you had the public, the people coming in the from his district, coming in, his constituents, sitting down, talking, this and that. So I got the crowd kind of started and warmed up. Now, we were representing AMAC. We weren't necessarily supporting him or his campaign or anything about him. I knew he was a rhino even back then. But the weird thing is that when everybody sat down and got ready to send in their questions, because that's what happens at these town halls. And this isn't just Kinzinger. All these Democrats do it because none of them, absolutely none of them, can take criticism from their, quote, constituents. And if it does happen, it's by accident. It's like, a conservative journalist kind of sneaks in and catches them off guard. And then, of course, they shout them down because, they don't believe in freedom of speech unless it's speech that they believe in. And then what happens? They get thrown out. The police come in and everything else, right? So here's the reality. When I was there was probably 10 or 15 questions that the congressman was supposed to answer. Well, each question was color coordinated. You had green, which meant go. It's a good question. Answer it. You had yellow, proceed with caution, and then you had red. And red meant don't call on the people. So what did they do? They had their questions, they put them in their thing, and then the people in the audience were given these little things that you hold up in your hand. And you guessed it, they were green, they were yellow, and they were red. And I can tell you right now, as sure as shit as I'm sitting here doing this show and sitting there, I remember it clear as day in 2019 or 18, whenever this was, when I did this. Adam Kinzinger did not call on one person that had a real tough question with a red thing, on a stick that was held up. He ignored anyone with the red. I think he did like 10 or 11 questions, and honestly, I think 8 of them were green, and maybe 3 were yellow. And even the yellow ones he stammered through. So basically, these town halls on the Democrat side, not the Republican side, Republicans don't do that. They'll talk to anyone, that's the truth, because they know that they have the ability to not only talk to people, but they're not going to sit there and lie to people either. And so the Democrats don't do that. The Democrats have color-coordinated signs, and if they see a red one, forget it. Doesn't matter what your question is. If they deem your question as red, not going to work, folks. They will not call on you. I saw it firsthand, and I was shocked. I remember going back and talking to Dan Weber, may he rest in peace, the former CEO and president of AMAC, and I just was like, Dan, you're not going to believe this. They actually have color-coordinated questions so that the members of Congress know not to ask call on the people that are going to ask them the really hard questions to make them look stupid. And we were both like shocked. We couldn't even believe it. So anyway, that was just a side story because I hate him just as much as Fartswell. But I hope that Fartswell lied on his mortgage forms. I hope that there's mortgage lending out there that he got better rates for, and I hope he gets the exact same treatment as the others that are now under federal investigation for mortgage fraud. What a fraud they all are. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.